स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सादवेतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमा ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतविषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत श्री राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। हाँ, okay, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, welcome all of you. This chapter is the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. You will find in the entire Bhagavad Gita, this is one of the chapters where Krishna has given a maximum number of instructions for a practicing sadhaka, for a practicing yogi. So in that sense also it is very very important because we have seen till now that how Krishna spoke about that how there's a need of a regulation of the habits, eating, sleeping, recreation, work. No, Krishna also spoke. Krishna is also speaking entirely about the theme of the regulation of the mind, control of the mind. So now this last portion of this chapter where we are today, that there also we find a lot of important things are being there, especially for the sadhakas. Even us as a practitioner of the path of the bhakti yoga. So that way it is very important chapter. In none of other chapters of the Gita, so much instructions are being given for the sadhakas. So many things which are applicable for the sadhakas is being given. Okay. So here we are. Yesterday we left at this place that how Arjuna has got a Arjuna this sloka number 35. Arjuna is expressing his inability when he heard that how how one should perform the yoga, how a yogi should be able to have a equal vision, you know, he should be able to have advancement by which he is able to see in an equal manner everyone, should be able to have compassion for everyone. So Arjuna felt that how this kind of state of mind is very impossible to be able to have. This kind of state is very impossible. So that's why so he expressed his doubt. I think so. We'll just see this shloka again once. Arjuna is telling 33rd shloka. Arjuna uvacha यो अयं योगस्त्वया प्रोक्तः साम्येन मधुसूदन एतस्याहं न पश्यामि चञ्चलत्वत् स्थितं स्थिरम्. Right? So Arjuna is telling that how, O Madhusudana, the system of the yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. So he's mentioning that how it looks to be it is impractical and unendurable, right? Sthiram. It is not sthiram. It is not stable system. Why? Because the mind is very restless. The mind is very, very fickle. The mind is, mind does not remain in one thought. Mind constantly keeps jumping from one thought to the another thought. So here you'll find Arjuna is rejecting that, oh, this yoga is not possible. No, doesn't look that I will be able to do this. So see one interesting thing, here you will find Arjun is doing submission and he's also having his reservation. The two things are there. Now he's having submission that, oh, oh Krishna, this is not possible at all, and no, it is not possible at all for me. Means I cannot do it. It doesn't look to be possible at all. He's submitting to Krishna. It's not that he is writing that Krishna, Are, how can you say such kind of yoga which is not possible at all? No, he is not rejecting it that way, but he's expressing, he's submitting that this yoga may be good, but it is impractical with respect to me. So in that way, he's submitting, but at the same time, he's also expressing his reservation that actually I cannot follow this. I cannot follow this. Same way we find in Bhagavatam, Dhruv Maharaj also, he was going to the forest when he was being insulted by the stepmother, Suruchi. So then that time Narad Muni comes and he tests him that, "Arey, Dhruva, why you're taking this insult so seriously? No, today your father has rejected you. Okay, tomorrow again you can sit on the lap of the father. No, don't no need to be so much angry. Better you go back. We are thinking of going to the forest. There are so many animals in the forest. You will not be able to survive. And you should not feel insulted. It's just a matter. So Dhruva there again. Dhruva says that Narad Muni, whatever you may be thinking, whatever you are telling may be good. And see, of course, Narad Muni also says that how one should be. One should not take insults very seriously. One should forget the insults and all. So Dhruv Maharaj says that actually, Narad Muni, what you are saying may be right. But see, I'm a Kshatriya. I'm having a blood of the Kshatriya. And for me now, I am not able to say anything apart from gaining a kingdom bigger than my father. If you're able to help me for that regard, please kindly tell something. Otherwise, you continue your way, I will continue my way. Okay. You'll find, Dhruva was also. So Dhruva was he heard submissively from Narad Muni, but then he also expressed his reservation that I'm not, I will not be able to follow. I cannot come to this state. A Brahmana may not feel offended. I am a Kshatriya. I have become offended. I want to pursue a bigger kingdom than my father. So, the same way in our spiritual life also. Now, we may hear some things, we may hear it submissively, but then we have to also see that, what is our adhikar, how much we are able to follow. For example, like, suppose somebody were to say that, one must chant 64 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra daily, in order to be purified. Let us say you hear it like this, okay? Okay, you can hear it with submission that yes, this is right. If we chant the holy names, it will purify us, right now. But then we have to understand that actually I am not in the situation, and I will not be able to make out such kind of time. So we can express our reservation, that way, right now. So we should be able to see the stars as well as the staircase. This is the saying, right? सितारों को भी देखना है और लेकिन सीढ़ी को भी देखना है ना, ये होना चाहिए, मतलब पॉइंट क्या है कि we should be able to see what is the goal. We should have focused upon the goal, but we should also be able to see the staircase, to lead to that goal, which means what? Step by step, how we can gradually come to the goal. If we don't see the staircase, then the goal will, if we don't see the right way, the step by step way to attain that goal, then we'll never be able to achieve the goal. So the goal may be very high, like in our case, getting Krishna Prem, the highest goal. The goal may be very high, but then there are some step-by-step ways, Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, chanting, hearing, and expression of the devotees. These are the step-by-step ways. So we should be able to also, hold on to the staircase, while focusing upon the goal. Not that we don't focus upon the staircase. If we lose the staircase, if we lose the sight of the staircase, then we'll never be make out to the stars. We'll never be make out to the goal. So here we can learn from Arjuna that how he's submitting, and submitting, and he's also expressing his reservation. So this freedom is there, that we can express our reservation. Of course, depends. If you're in front of spiritual master and if he says that you should do this, then there's no question of reservation. But at least at our level, when we're dealing with some other authorities, if we find something very, very impractical for us, we can express our reservation, we can express our concerns. Okay. And now see further, next shloka, Arjuna is now going to further elaborate about the chanchalatvat, the fickle nature of the mind. So he's telling next shloka, 34th shloka. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balabadridham तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरिव सुदुष्करम. It's very important shloka to be understood. No, right? So see, so let me take you to the conversation first. What is the conversation happening? Vishnu Chakra Thakur is telling you. See, yeah, please read. Any of you?
In this verse, Arjuna speaks of the fickle mind. But Arjuna, possible to control the mind by discriminating intellect, according to the scriptures. The Shruti says,
Wait, wait, wait,
Atmanam.
wait, right? So this who is telling this? Krishna is telling. Yeah, Arjuna expressed that it is impractical because the mind is very flickering. So then Krishna is telling that, but Arjuna, it is possible to control the mind. How one can control the mind? By the strong intelligence, discriminating intelligence. If somebody is having a stronger intelligence, with a stronger intelligence, one can subdue one's mind, right? So then this is a quotation from the Shruti that how the body is like a chariot, the Atma is like the chariot driver, and how the senses are like the horses, the ropes are like the mind, and the intelligence is like the chariot driver. So the chariot driver can keep hold onto the rope and the horses. Same way with intelligence, one can control one's senses in the mind, right? So this is there. So this question this is being quoted. So now see further what now see further Arjuna what is saying. But the mind,
But the mind very strongly agitates the intellect. Pramathi. Note, pra stands for prakasin, very strongly. Mat means to churn.
okay, yes, Pramathi, right? So Krishna told it, but one can control with one's intelligence. But no, Arjuna is saying no. Mind very strongly agitates the intelligence. Arey, what to speak of controlling with intelligence? Sometimes mind becomes so strong that इंटेलिजेंस की कुछ सुनता ही नहीं है, इंटेलिजेंस को ही पूरा हिला देता है. हाँ, मन ऐसे काम करता है कि पूरा बुद्धि हिल जाती है. ऐसा बोल रहे हैं, राइट? प्रमाथि प्र मीन्स प्रकर्षेण, प्रकर्षेण मीन्स वेरी स्ट्रांगली, एंड मथ मीन्स मथना, चर्न करना. तो चर्न करते हैं तो क्या होता है, जब जब मथते हैं तो क्या होता है, वो एजिटेट हो जाता है ना. तो ऐसे बोले कि है ना, कभी कभार मतलब मन इतना स्ट्रांगली बुद्धि को ही एजिटेट कर देता है ना. उसको उसको कंट्रोल, बुद्धि से कंट्रोल करने की तो बात ही अलग है ना. यस, गो हेड.
How can that happen? Just as a strong disease does not recognize the medicine which is supposed to cure it, the strong mind by its very nature ignores the discriminating intellect, balvat. Moreover, the mind is very firm, like iron which is impossible to pierce by the fine needles of the intellect, dridam. I considered it is difficult to overcome the mind by Astanga Yoga. That is like trying to control the violent wind in the sky by stopping the breath with kumbhaka.
सो सी इज टेलिंग दैट, अरे कृष्ण इज टेलिंग हाउ कैन इट हैपन, ऐसा कैसे हो जाता है भाई. बोला अरे देखिए, जैसे जैसे द स्ट्रॉन्ग डिजीज डज नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज द मेडिसिन विच इज सपोज टू क्योर इट. कई बार बीमारी बहुत खतरनाक बीमारी है मान लीजिए, तो आप दवाई खाते हो, बट दवाई कुछ काम ही नहीं आती है. जो आपकी क्रॉनिक बीमारी है वो दवाई का पूरा इफेक्ट ही नलीफाई कर देती है. लाइक समटाइम्स यू हैव एक्सपीरियंस इट. सपोज किसी को बहुत क्रॉनिक कॉन्स्टिपेशन का प्रॉब्लम है, तो अभी नॉर्मल कुछ उसने लिया ना, कोई चूर्ण खाया, कुछ वो खाया, तो वो कुछ फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है. मतलब किसी का बहुत अगर क्रॉनिक कॉन्स्टिपेशन है, बहुत लंबे समय से कॉन्स्टिपेशन का प्रॉब्लम है, तो अभी कोई बाकी कोई बेचारा थोड़ा सा भी चूर्ण खाएगा मान लो, तो वो उसका सिस्टम पूरा हिल जाएगा, मतलब फटाफट उसको क्लियर करेगा. बट किसी का बहुत बीमारी बड़ा क्रॉनिक हो गया है, उसको हैवी से हैवी चूर्ण भी दे दो, कुछ काम नहीं आता है. उसके वही बात बता रहे हैं कि ये उसी तरीके से जस्ट just as a strong disease does not recognize the medicine which is supposed to cure it, the strong mind by its very nature ignores the discriminating intelligence, right? दृढ़म, बलवत ना, मन इतना बलवत है, इतना स्ट्रांग है कि वो है ना इंटेलिजेंस की बिल्कुल नहीं सुनता है. और साथ ही साथ में द माइंड इज ऑल्सो वेरी फर्म ना, बहुत फर्म भी है. दृढ़, दृढ़ जो बड़ा है ना, दृढ़म. देखिए जो अलग अलग वर्ड्स है जो श्लोका में पढ़ेंगे उसके भीतर ना, तो ये बलवत भी बताया गया है ना, दृढ़म भी गया है. दृढ़ मतलब क्या है, द माइंड इज वेरी फर्म. दृढ़ व्यक्ति मतलब फर्म, लाइक द आयरन विच इज इम्पॉसिबल टू पियर्स बाय द फाइन नीडल्स ऑफ द इंटेलेक्ट, राइट? जैसे लोहे को सुई से नहीं घोपा जा सकता है, तो वैसे बता रहे हैं कि मन इतना स्ट्रांग है, फर्म है, कि बुद्धि से उसको नहीं छेदा जा सकता है. That's why he's saying that I consider it difficult to overcome the mind by the strong yoga, right? So this is the conversation which happened. Okay, so let us come back to the shloka. So here you will find there are four characteristics of the mind mentioned by Krishna, mentioned by the Arjun. What are those? He's telling chanchalam, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, right? First is Chanchalam, right? Krishna, this mind is very Chanchalam. Chanchalam मतलब क्या होता है कि फ्लिकरिंग, अनस्टेडी, एक जगह पे जो नहीं रहता है, बार बार इधर उधर चले जाता है ना, उसे बोलते हैं चंचलम। फिर क्या है? प्रमाथी। प्रमाथी मतलब क्या है कि वेरी स्ट्रांगली जो एजिटेट हो जाता है, राइट? प्रमाथी कैन ऑल्सो बी मेंट एज मैड, मतलब नूनम प्रमत्त कुरुते विकर्मा। तो जब व्यक्ति बहुत एजिटेटेड हो जाता है, माइंड बहुत एजिटेटेड हो जाता है, तो क्या है, कुछ पागलपन वाले कार्य कर देता है ना। दैट कभी मान लीजिए कि उसको बहुत गुस्सा आ गया, एक्सट्रीम एंगर आ गया, वो क्या करेगा, उस गुस्से में वो क्या कर डालता है उसे समझ में नहीं आता है, बाद में सोचता है कि अरे मेरे से कैसे ये हो गया, राइट? तो प्रमाथी में एक तरीके का मैडनेस, such a high degree of agitation that one tends to be like a one tends to think and act like a madman. That's the meaning of pramathi. The mind, the mind becomes the mind is such mind is such a thing that it makes a person to think and act in a way as if like a madman. Completely, so one can act in a most dangerous way. One can act in the most dangerous way. One can harm others in the most dangerous way. That's the meaning of pramathi. Pramathi means very maddened, बहुत madness कह सकते हैं ना. And balavad, balavad means very strong, strength, strong. And dridham, dridham means what? जनरली दृढ़ का मतलब होता है कि फर्म, है ना, दृढ़ता. दृढ़ता मीन्स फर्मनेस, राइट? दृढ़ निश्चय जिसको बोलते हैं, राइट ना. बट यहाँ पे ये नेगेटिव सेंस में यूज किया जा रहा है माइंड के लिए, इट्स मोर ऑफ अ ऑब्स्टिनेट, राइट? ऑब्स्टिनेट जब हम लोग बोलते हैं तो किसी नेगेटिव पर्पस के लिए बोलते हैं, राइट? कोई व्यक्ति अगर किसी बुरी चीज को लेके बहुत अटैच्ड है, कुछ बुरी चीज को कर लेने के लिए, बोलते हैं ना, अरे बहुत अड़ियल है वो. वैसे ही दृढ़ यहाँ पे क्या बताया गया, इट्स लाइक ऑब्स्टिनेट. ऑब्स्टिनेट की बहुत अड़ियल है. अड़ियल क्या होता है कि मतलब ना वो करवा के रहता है, मतलब करके छोड़ता है. अड़ियल व्यक्ति जो होता है, उसको भले कुछ भी बोला जाए, कुछ भी उसको कुछ भी दिखा दिया जाए, बट फिर भी वो कुछ बुरा काम करके रहता है. तो दैट्स द मीनिंग ऑफ दृढ़ हियर, दैट ही इज ऑब्स्टिनेट. माइंड क्या है ना, माइंड डज नॉट केयर फॉर एनीथिंग व्हेन इट कम्स, इट्स सो एडामेंट. करके ही छोड़ता है. कुछ भी काम, कुछ काम छोड़ देता है, कुछ गलत भी, गलत काम क्यों ना, उसके बहुत सारे गलत कंसिक्वेंसेस भी क्यों ना दिख रहे हो, बट वो कर डालता है. ऐसा बता रहे हैं. So these four characteristics are being spoken here. It's very chanchal, it's pramathi, it's balvad, and dridham. And that's why tasya aham nigraham manya. Nigraham means control. So to control such a mind, oh Krishna, I feel it as if it is vayur eve so dushkaram. It is as difficult as controlling the wind. And it's more difficult than controlling the wind also. Like suppose there's a wind in the sky. Oh, first thing, it's very difficult to control the wind in the sky, isn't it? So he's telling that it is more difficult to even control the mind than even controlling the wind. So see, these are the four characteristics of the mind because of which it is very, very dangerous. Okay. Right. First is chanchalam. Right. So see, let us see one by one some of these things. Like see chanchalam. So chanchalam is what? Chanchalam मतलब कि एक जगह पे रहता नहीं है. Unsteady जिसको बोलते हैं ना, fickle or unsteady. Is always looking for different things. Like it can be compared with a small child. छोटा बच्चा होता है ना, देखोगे छोटे बच्चे पे हमेशा निगरानी रखना पड़ता है. हर क्षण माता पिता को निगरानी रखना पड़ता है, क्योंकि ही जस्ट वांट टू कुछ ना कुछ करते रहना चाहता है, कुछ ना कुछ जाएगा. इतना छोटा सपोज एंट होगा तो एंट को हिलाना चाहेगा, दरवाजे को खोलना चाहेगा, है ना, कुछ गर्म चीज को हाथ लगाना चाहेगा, नॉटी वे में कुछ ना कुछ ना. लेकिन इट्स लाइक अ चाइल्डिश इनोसेंस ना, इट्स लाइक अ इनोसेंट क्यूरियोसिटी. दैट्स द मीनिंग ऑफ चंचलम. अनस्टडी है, मतलब एक इनोसेंट वे में क्यूरियस रहता है ना, अलग चीजों के बारे में सोचने के लिए, है ना, देखने के लिए, राइट? ये बहुत बहुत डेंजरस नेचर नहीं है माइंड का, कह सकते हैं यहाँ पे ना. इट्स लाइक अ इनोसेंट क्यूरियोसिटी, जस्ट लाइक अ चाइल्ड, लाइक अ चाइल्डिश नेचर ऑफ द माइंड. ओके, दैट माइंड वांट्स टू गो हियर एंड देयर, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट प्लेसेस. वहाँ क्या चल रहा है, यहाँ क्या चल रहा है, अलग चीजों के बारे में सोचना चाहता है. ठीक है, दैट्स अ चंचलम. देन यू से प्रमाथी. व्हेन यू से प्रमाथी मींस व्हाट? दैट्स अ मैडन्ड, है ना, मैडन्ड, एकदम मैडनेस, एकदम पागलपन, पागलपन जैसा हो जाता है. नो, इट बिकम्स लाइक अ डेविलिश. डेविलिश मतलब कि द मैड पर्सन completely becomes disconnected from the reality, and it ends up creating great danger. For example, like no, like suppose a mad person, now see, a mad person can imagine very 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 unimaginable kind of things. कोई पागल व्यक्ति है, पता नहीं क्या क्या चीजें सोच सकता है और क्या क्या तरीके से एक्ट भी कर सकता है, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक लेटेस्ट कोई पागल व्यक्ति है ना, वो सोच रहा है अचानक से he will think that I am a soldier, I am a soldier for India, and I have to kill the Pakistanis, and he may want, he may take some weapon and he may want to kill other people nearby, all of a sudden, one cannot read what is going on in the mind of of a mad person. So the point is that, and out of madness one can, go for the most unexpected things, and one can create great dangers for anyone. That's the nature of the mind. That is very pramata, very mad. It makes a person mad. Mad means what? One ends up doing something which may be like, sometimes we find, some person, he drank, and then he became very angry, and then he killed his wife and the children and all those people. Or somebody committed suicide in the most horrible way. All these things happens, because the mind is such a crazy, mind makes a person mad. Mind makes a crazy. It's like a craziness. It's like a very dangerous kind of craziness. That's a pramati. Okay. Then balvat. Balvat means what? It is very strong also. देखिए कोई पागल व्यक्ति है, पतला दुबला पागल व्यक्ति है तो ठीक है, अभी दो चार लोग उसको पकड़ के, है ना, उसको कंट्रोल में ला सकते हैं, ठीक है। लेकिन मान लीजिए वो पागल व्यक्ति बड़ा स्ट्रांग है ना, तो क्या होगा? एक तो पागल है, और ऊपर से बहुत स्ट्रांग भी है, तो बड़ा मुश्किल होगा उसको कंट्रोल कर पाना। दैट इज हाउ द माइंड इज, इट्स वेरी बलवत। बलवत मतलब कि करवा डालता है, बहुत स्ट्रांग है, आप उसको रेजिस्ट नहीं कर पाते हो, है ना। इट्स लाइक वेरी स्ट्रांग, जस्ट लाइक द माइंड इज वेरी, सी द मटल वर्ल्ड, द माइंड इज एक्टिंग बाय द मीन्स ऑफ द माया। जो माया शक्ति है ना, हमारे मन बेसिकली माया शक्ति के थ्रू ही कार्य करता है। just like Maya is also all pervasive, Maya is also very strong, because the mind also is very strong in that way. And dridham means what? Dridham means drid hai, बहुत obstinate है, ideal है, adamant है, ना, it tends to do something, in spite of all the dangers, all the risks, all the warnings, right? The example can be given of like Ravan, Duryodhan, like Ravan. Now, he was knowing, he was seeing that how, it's not good for him to fight with Lord Ram, not to kidnap Mother Sita. And one after another, Kumbhakarna told him no, Vibhishan told him no, Manthara, what is that? Mandodari told him no. And then he was seeing one by one his sons were getting killed. Hanumanji also came, Angad also told no. But you see, he was bent upon keeping Mother Sita and fighting with Lord Ram. That's the meaning of obstinacy. Same with Duryodhana also. One after another, he was trying to make plans to, kill the Pandavas. Obstinate mind. So these are the four natures of the mind. That it's a chanchal, very chanchal, pramathi, very balvad, and very dridham. Dridham means obstinate, karwa dalta hai. Just yesterday only I got to know about one devotee, one of our voice devotee, Nakula devotee. First time he has gone to now home after, spending one semester in the voice. Very good devotee, gem devotee, the best devotee among the Nakula batch. And now see, he has gone to the home. We have parental control in his mobile and laptops, but then he has ended up seeing some dirty movies in some other mobile or something. But of course, he's sincere, serious, so he wrote that, I'm very feeling bad, and I did that way, right? Now, but see, now he's a good devotee, the gem, the best devotee of our voice, of Nakula, amongst the Nakula. But then see, Andy, the mind, mind, didham, Samathi. It just, it's so balvat that one ends up doing. That's how this is being told. See, let's say Prabhupada Sarpad. Yeah, any of you.
The mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence. Although the mind is supposed to be supervenient to the intelligence, for a man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy. But ultimately, no worldly man can do so, for this is more difficult than controlling the raging wind.
Yes. So it is very difficult to control the mind. See, this Katha Upanishad, the chariot example is being given, that how the intelligence is uh, supposed to guide the horses and the rope. So intelligence is supposed to guide the chariot. Go ahead. Intelligence is.
Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own, even one own's intelligence as an acute infection. may surpass the efficacy of medicine. Such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga, but such practice is never practical for a worldly person like Arjuna. And what can we say of a modern man? The smile used here is the
Simile.
simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the blowing wind, and it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance, in all humility. The method prescribed is Savai Mana Krishna Padar Vindu. One must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only then will there remain no other engagement to agitate the mind.
So it's very difficult, but Chetan Mahaprabhu has given the method of Harinam Sankirtan. If somebody will try to fix his mind upon Krishna and will try to chant Hare Krishna, the most easiest way to fix one's mind upon Krishna is by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Because there's a mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into that. So by that way, one can control one's mind, okay? So we'll discuss more about it. Krishna is going to give a solution about it, okay? So now next shloka. Krishna is going to answer now. Two shlokas, uh, uh, Arjuna put his difficulty. No, Lord is going to remove his difficulty. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagena cha Grihyate. Right? The Lord is telling, Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam अभ्यासेन तो कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते राइट वेरी फेमस श्लोक आप लोगों ने कई बार देखा भी होगा तो लेट अस सी इफ यू कैन सी या रीड दिस commentary by Vishnu Thakur the conversation you will find
Except
हाँ
accepting what Arjuna has said, Krishna gives a conclusion. What you have said is certainly true, but though our disease may be very serious, by taking the right medicine according to the doctor's prescription repeatedly, after a long time the disease get cured. Similarly, thought the mind is difficult to
do
control.
this is do actually this is not thought this is do the mind is
Similarly, though the mind is difficult to control, it is possible to control it by repeated practice according to the direction of the Guru. By constant application of the process of meditation on the Supreme Lord, Abhyasena, and by dissociation from the object of enjoyment, Vairagyena, Patanjali says in his sutras, Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tan Nirodha. The mind is controlled by practice and detachment. Since you defeated many great warriors in battle, Mahabaho, and even defeated Lord Shiva, can you not defeat the mind? If you are able to defeat the soldier called the mind by the weapon of the great process of yoga, then you can be called mighty armed. O Kaunteya, you should not fear, as you are the son of my aunt Kunti. It is proper that I help you.
so say two words I use for Arjuna here Mahabahu right mighty armed. So it's saying just like with your arms you have subdued so many of the enemies same way you can also subdue this enemy of the mind no. That's why this word is Mahabaho. And Konteya is also used. Konteya means because see, you have a connection with me. So, I will help you to control your mind. Don't worry. But what is required is what one requires is it is possible to control by the repeated practice. One has to repeatedly practice. How? Based upon the directions given by the Guru. So the Guru will give some instructions how to control the mind. One has to follow those instructions. And also by constant application of the process of the meditation of the Supreme Lord, right? Abhyasena. And see, abhyas is both application of the principles given by the Guru and and also the process of meditation upon the Lord. In this particular case, for the yogi. And vairagya means dissociation from the objects of the enjoyment. Giving up the attraction towards the sensual enjoyments. Okay, so let us come to the verse now again. So see here, asamshayam mahabaho mano durni graham chalam, right? Yes, asamshayam, right? Without doubt, this mano durni graham is very difficult. Now, it is very difficult to control the mind, right? Without any doubt. Without any doubt, right? So see, Krishna is empathizing with Arjuna first. Empathizing means, he is understanding his difficulty. Now, that's called as the empathy. The same way, like, if you want to become to preach to someone, we have to be able to relate with their problems, relate with the people's problems. We should be able to put ourselves on their position. We should be able to bring ourselves down at their position. Like for example, like now this boy, now who ended up saying some dirty thing like this. Now see, if he comes at Prabhuji, this has happened to me. Then one of the responses, Arey, you have stayed for 1 semester in the voice, you have been to this yatra, and you have done so many things. Still, how can you end up doing this? So this can be one of the responses, right? No? But that is not going to elevate him, right? Now, indeed, he will feel more uncomfortable. He will feel more discouraged, right? So the better way is what? That okay, if people are at this level, and obviously we are on this level, people are on this level at us, right? So ideally, we have to also come at this level, and then we have to help these people at this level, and slowly, these people can also gradually come up. That's how it is called. So one should be able to empathize with the other's problems. Empathize means what? To be able to feel for other problems, to be able to help them at their level. So Krishna is also empathizing with Arjuna, and then so see, first Krishna is empathized. Krishna is confirmed. So see, see Krishna is not compromising. See, no, Krishna is saying that yes, it is very difficult, but Krishna is not compromising. Krishna is uncompromising. Yes, difficult. It is difficult, but Krishna is uncompromising. But Krishna is also encouraging. But Krishna is saying no, but it is possible to do it. How it is possible to do it? अभ्यासेन तो कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते. अभ्यास और वैराग्य, ये दो तरीकों से इसको कंट्रोल किया जा सकता है. So this is encouragement. That yes, first is Krishna is uncompromising. देखो भाई, हाँ सही बोल रहे हो, मन को कंट्रोल करना बड़ा मुश्किल है ना, राइट? कुछ इसमें वो नहीं कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हाँ ठीक है, एनकरेज भी कर रहे हैं कि देखो, लेकिन तरीका क्या है? अभ्यास और वैराग्य से हम कर सकते हैं ना. दिस इज वन थिंग इम्पोर्टेंट है ना. देखिए यहाँ पे ना एक जनरिक वे में बात की जा रही है ना. अर्जुन इज टेलिंग इन अ जनरिक वे दैट इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कंट्रोल द माइंड. So Krishna is also telling in a generic manner, not pertaining to the yoga. कि भाई हाँ योगा में ऐसे करो तो वैसे करो, एक जनरिक वे में बोला कि देखो, लेकिन हाँ इस मन को कंट्रोल करना मुश्किल है, लेकिन हाँ कोई अगर अभ्यास करेगा, प्रैक्टिस करेगा और थोड़ा वैराग्य रखेगा, तो क्या होगा, धीरे धीरे वो अपने मन को कंट्रोल में करके ला सकता है. राइट? तो एक जनरिक वे में यहाँ पे वर्ड्स यूज किए गए, अभ्यास और वैराग्य. बट एग्जैक्टली ये अभ्यास क्या है, वो भगवान अभी आगे वाले चैप्टर्स में बताने वाले हैं. एंड दैट इज द भक्ति योगा. That is the abhyas of fixing your mind upon Krishna. Right? That's the ultimate thing by which you can control the mind. All the means will not help you much. So that's the ultimate abhyas, है ना? So now see, so this abhyas means what? One has to practice. One has to practice to control the mind. One has to practice to focus the mind, and one has to have vairagya. One has to have detachment from the things which distract one's mind from focusing. जो फोकस करने से जो डिस्ट्रैक्ट कर रही है चीजें, उनके प्रति डिटैचमेंट होना चाहिए, ऐसा भगवान बता रहे हैं. तो अर्जुन बोलेगा कि अरे भाई, अरे मन ही तो है ना, यही तो नहीं हो रहा है ना भाई, मन कंट्रोल में नहीं आ रहा है. मन कंट्रोल में नहीं आ रहा है, तभी तो मेरा अभ्यास अच्छे से नहीं हो पा रहा है, और तभी वैराग्य नहीं हो पा रहा है. तो ये कैसे हो पाएगा? मतलब आप बोले सोल्यूशन कि अभ्यास और वैराग्य, बट भाई मन से ही तो अभ्यास होने वाला है ना, बट मन ही मानने के लिए रेडी नहीं है, अभ्यास करने के लिए मन ही रेडी नहीं है डिटैच होने के लिए. ऐसे कैसे होगा? तो देखिए भगवान बोले कि नहीं नहीं, देखो क्या है, जिस भी लेवल पर कर पा रहे हो ना, जिस भी लेवल पर मन रेडी हो रहा है अभ्यास करने के लिए और डिटैच रहने के लिए, उतना करना स्टार्ट करो ना. उससे क्या होगा, धीरे 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 आपकी कैपेसिटी और बढ़ेगी. इट्स जस्ट लाइक सपोज अ पर्सन हैज गॉट अ फ्रैक्चर. ही हैज गॉट अ फ्रैक्चर. नाउ ही गोज टू द डॉक्टर विल गिव हिम द ट्रीटमेंट, and he will give him some prescriptions, some treatment, and then he will tell that after 10 days, after 15 days, then you start walking little bit, है ना, right? You start walking for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Oh, so yeah. So now he may say, I'm in a fractured condition. How will I be able to walk? No, you will be able to walk. You will have some capacity to walk. That it will be the fullest capacity, but it will have some capacity. Same way, with the same mind we have to, for the same mind we have to, practice, and we have to be detached. But that capacity will increase. If we will start, if we will start applying at our level, we try to do some practice, we try to have some detachment, then slowly the capacity of the mind will increase, right? This is an important thing, like like you say, Prabhuji, mind control नहीं होता चैंटिंग के टाइम पे, Prabhuji mind पर इधर चला जाता है, राइट? क्या, लेकिन अभ्यास करो और वैराग्य रखने का प्रयास करो, राइट? आप फिर से एफर्ट लगाओगे मन को और कॉन्सेंट्रेट कर लेने का, डिटैच रखने का, तो धीरे धीरे आपको और हेल्प मिलेगा, धीरे धीरे आपका मन और कंट्रोल हो पाएगा, राइट ना? तो तरीका भी वही है, मतलब, है ना? धीरे धीरे मन का कैपेसिटी बढ़ता है अभ्यास और वैराग्य कर लेने का, है ना। ऑल्सो देखो वैराग्य मतलब ऑल्सो ना, का वे है वैराग्य का मतलब कि कीप पेशेंस। इमीडिएटली ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नहीं हो पाएगा, या इमीडिएटली ड्रास्टिक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नहीं भी दिख रहा होगा, बट फिर भी पेशेंस रखो, इट विल वर्क आउट। अनदर एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द वैराग्य इज वी शुड ऑल्सो रिमेन पेशेंट in controlling our mind. We should not become restless, that why it is not happening, I have spent so much time, no, it's going to take its time. It may take some time, so should be patient, that's the also vairagya. Should not be very much attached to getting some uh, quick transformation, quick benefits. No, should be able to have patience for that, so this is what is telling, abhyas. And so let's read Prabhupada's purport, very important for us to understand Prabhupada, what formula Prabhupada is suggesting for us bhakti yogis. Go ahead.
The difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind, as expressed by Arjun, is accepted by the personality of Godhead. But at the same time, he suggests that by practice and detachment it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the super soul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about the Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental method of purging the mind of all misgivings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna.
Wait, wait,
By
wait,
detach-
wait. So now see Prabhupada is mentioning here, see, all these practices of the Ashtanga yoga, they are like very impossible in this particular age, right? So to control the mind by that means is like almost impossible in this stage, But then what is the practice by which we can control the mind? That's the practice of the bhakti yoga. What is that practice? No. What is the practice of this bhakti yoga? That we try to fix our mind upon Krishna by the means of this Navavida Bhakti. Shamanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam, right? तो जो 9 प्रकार की भक्ति की एक्टिविटीज हैं, उसको अगर हम लोग करते हैं तो उससे क्या होगा, हमारा मन कृष्ण पे फिक्स हम लोग कर पाएंगे, राइट ना। और उसमें भी देखिए जो बता रहे हैं, द फर्स्ट एंड द फॉरमोस्ट ऑफ सच एंगेजमेंट इज हियरिंग अबाउट कृष्णा। सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट एंगेजमेंट जो है वो है हियरिंग अबाउट कृष्णा। This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all the misgivings. Uh, the more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. So Prabhupada is recommending what practice for us as a devotees? The practice of engagement into the 9 types of devotional service. And out of them also the most important is the hearing. So if we hear Krishna Katha, that practice will be able, by that practice now we can control our minds. By that practice we will be able to fix our mind upon Krishna, so this is one important thing, so we'll have some more discussion about hearing, because it's a very important purpose for us as a sadhakas. uh, yeah, I think first we can discuss about that only, so see, this hearing is very important, hearing, see how it is related, you see, the mind is the energy of Krishna, isn't it? So only if Krishna desires, then the mind can be controlled. So now, so Krishna has given a process by which we can show our sincerity, our desire that we want to fix our mind upon Krishna. So that process is the process of the bhakti. So if we follow the process of the bhakti, if we hear about Krishna, then Krishna is pleased with our sincerity. And when Krishna is pleased with our sincerity, then he can remove all kinds of impurities in our heart, and he can help us to control our minds. So that's why the foremost thing is that we have to understand ultimately that ultimately the mind will become fixed upon Krishna only by the mercy of Krishna. And how can we get the mercy of Krishna in our life? If we please Krishna. And what pleases Krishna is, the foremost thing which pleases Krishna is if we serve the devotees, if we please his pure devotees. Na? And if you follow the process given by Krishna, so that's why in the Bhagavatam you will find, let us come to let us see from Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam gives a promise how one can get, how one can become freed from all kinds of impurities of the mind. See, so the first canto itself describes about the process of purification of the mind, purification of the heart, right? शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तन हृदय अंतस्थो ही अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहित सताम. Shinmatam swakatha Krishna, right? When somebody will hear Krishna Katha, and when he will have hearing of the Krishna Katha, then what will happen? Hidayantatso hi abhadrani. Whatever impurities are there inside the heart, vidhunoti. Vidhunoti means they are being cleansed. By whom? By the Lord. So when somebody starts hearing about Krishna Katha, then what will happen? Then the Lord who is seated in the heart, he will clean our hearts of all the impurities, which are not allowing our mind to be fixed upon Krishna. So this is the way, See, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee. It cleanses the desire for the material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted, right? So when we agree to hear about Krishna Katha, when we have a sincerity and we hear Krishna Katha, then seeing that sincerity, Krishna will then remove those impurities in our hearts, which are causing our mind to be distracted. So one thing we have to understand it is only by the mercy of Krishna that it can happen. But for that to come in our life, we have to follow the procedure given to us by Krishna. And that procedure is by the means of hearing Krishna Katha, by the means of, no, also by the means of engaging into any of the devotional activities. Okay. So see, one the classic purport about this, you know, about how to control the mind. One classic purport is there, which is being spoken by the Rahugan to Maharaj, which is being spoken by Bharat Maharaj, as Jad Bharat to Rahugana. So this is 5.11.17, where he's mentioning about how one can control one's mind. He's telling, see, Bhatratvayam enam tad adabra viryam उपेक्षया अध्येधितम अपमत्तः गुरोर हरेश चरणों उपासना अस्त्रो जहि वेलिकम स्वयं आत्ममोशम. Right? So what is telling? Yeah, please one of you read this.
This
This
uncontrolled
uncon- this uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy of the living entity. If one neglects it or gives it a chance, it will grow more and more powerful and will become victorious. Although it is not factual, it is very strong. It covers the constitutional position of the soul. O king, please try to conquer this mind by the weapon of service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master and of the supreme personality of Godhead. Do this with great care.
A very cautioning verse, you see. Na? That uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy of the living entity. See the Maya. How the Maya is acting upon all of us? By the means of the mind. The Maya, which consists of the three modes, Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun. So that basically influences our mind. And then how? And then we act in different ways. This mind, which is being controlled by the three modes, that is the greatest enemy. It is being told. It is the greatest enemy. Right? Dhatrivyam, बताया गया ना, enam, right? And adhabra viryam, right? Very, very powerful. It's the most greatest enemy. Also, if one neglects it or gives it a chance, it will grow more and more powerful and will become victorious, right? So if we don't understand the power of the mind and we allow the mind to grow more and more and uncontrolled, then what will happen? Then we will have no hope. The soul will have not no hope. Although it is not factual, it is very strong. Okay. एक्चुअल में मन के पास इतना पावर नहीं भी है, राइट? एक तरीके से, क्योंकि मन से ऊपर कौन है? आत्मा है. आत्मा अगर स्ट्रांग होगी तो मन सब साइड में हो जाएंगे. लेकिन फिर भी क्या है, क्योंकि वी हैव फॉरगॉटन आत्मा, वी हैव फॉरगॉटन अवर पावर, सो दैट्स व्हाई this mind, which is not factual, it is a subtle part of our existence, still it becomes very strong. And why it is most dangerous? Because it covers the constitutional position of the soul, right? आत्मा को ही ढक देता है, right? ना आत्मा को किल कर देता है, because a person is completely in the bodily conception of life. He do everything completely against the spirit, है ना? लेकिन इसको कंट्रोल कैसे किया जाता है, देखिए बता रहे हैं. Please try to conquer this mind by the weapon of service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master and the supreme personality of Godhead. Do this with great care. This third line is very, very powerful. See, Guru, this is the solution to control this mind, गुरोर हरेश चरणों उपासना अस्त्रो, राइट। गुरु और हरि के चरणों की उपासना के अस्त्र, अस्त्र मतलब कि वेपन, राइट। शत्रु है ना, शत्रु को अगर हमें परास्त करना है तो क्या चाहिए, वेपन चाहिए, राइट। तो कौन सा वेपन से इस शत्रु को हम लोग परास्त कर सकते हैं, हरा सकते हैं, वो है गुरु और हरि, भगवान और स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर के चरणों की उपासना। उसका मतलब क्या कि उन if one agrees to follow the instructions of the guru and the lord, then one will be able to defeat this formidable enemy of the mind. That's what is being spoken by Jad Bharat, the Bharat Maharaj. So the purport is also very classic, very important for the devotees. Please read. Prabhupada is giving the ways to control the mind. Yeah, please read.
There
There
is
is
one
one
easy
easy
weapon.
weapon.
Which is the mind can conquer. Disobedience. The mind is always telling us to do this or that. Therefore, we should be very expert in disobeying the mind's orders. Gradually, the mind should be trained to obey the orders of the soul. It is not that one should obey the orders of the mind. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that to control the mind, one should beat it with suge many times just after awaking and again before going to sleep. In this way, one can control them. This is the instruction of all the shastras. If one does not do so, one is doomed to follow the dictations of the mind. Another bona fide process is to abide strictly by the orders of the spiritual master and engage in the Lord's service. Then the mind will be automatically controlled. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed Srila Rupa Goswami, ब्रह्मांड भ्रमिते कौन भाग्यवान जीव गुरु कृष्ण प्रसादे पाए भक्ति लता बीज. When one receives the seed of devotional service by the mercy of the Guru and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's real life begins. If one abides by the orders of the spiritual master, by the grace of Krishna, he is freed from service of the mind.
So there are two ways Prabhupada is mentioning. First thing is to disobey the orders of the mind, neglect. तो पहला वेपन क्या है, नेग्लेक्ट करो माइंड को ना, नेग्लेक्ट करो उसको ना, उसको मत सुनो, पहला चीज बताया गया है। और दूसरा क्या बताया गया है, दैट वन हैज टू, है ना, स्ट्रिक्टली अबाइड बाय द ऑर्डर्स ऑफ द स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर एंड वन शुड एंगेज वनसेल्फ इन द लॉर्ड सर्विस, राइट। तो स्ट्रिक्टली व्यक्ति को भगवान को फॉलो करना चाहिए, गुरु के ऑर्डर्स को, है ना, और भक्ति में अपने आप को एंगेज करना चाहिए, राइट। इस तरह से कोई अगर करेगा तो क्या होगा, if one will abide by the orders of spiritual master, then by the grace of Krishna he is freed from the service to the mind, right? So one must follow the orders of the Guru. One must serve the Guru. So when we serve the Guru, then what will happen? Krishna will be pleased, and then by the mercy of Krishna, one can be freed from the service to the mind. That's why this aspect of pleasing the Guru parampara is very, very important. Because that is the way by which we can get mercy of Krishna, and then mind can be controlled. Otherwise, it is not possible. It is impossible to control the mind. Is impossible because mind is not our energy. Mind is Krishna's energy. But if we agree to serve the Guru, so again coming back to the Bhagavad Gita purport where we were, so Prabhupada is telling again that one should follow the Navavidha Bhakti, right? And of course, any bona fide Guru will engage you into Navavidha Bhakti only, right? And out of them also, the most important thing is to hear Krishna Katha. Now, one should be able to hear Krishna Katha. तो somebody may say, पूजी फिर तो दिन भर हम लोग सुनते ही है ना, फिर बाकी सब क्यों कर लेने का, प्रीचिंग क्यों करने का, है ना, और बाकी जो सर्विसेज है क्यों करने का, बस कृष्ण कथा ही सुनते रहे हम हमेशा, व्हाई नॉट, क्यों ना? मन उससे कंट्रोल में रहेगा, कृष्णा में फिक्स रहेगा। बट ऐसा नहीं है, देखिए कि हमारे कैपेसिटी हम हमेशा सुन भी नहीं सकते हैं, राइट। राइट, हमारा किसी दिन एकादशी का दिन हम एक्स्ट्रा राउंड करने का होता है, बड़ा मुश्किल होता है कर पाना। आप देखोगे, राइट, आपको लेक्चर हो जाए 1 घंटा 2 घंटा 3 घंटा हो, आपका फिर मन काबू नहीं रह पाता, राइट ना। The point is that how the capacity to hear is also limited in all of us. So how the capacity for hearing will come? Again, Bhagavatam is telling that the capacity to hear will come how? See? Yeah, any of you knows What is the verse? How the capacity to hear comes?
शुश्रूषुषद्दधानस्य श्यामवत्सेवे.
Nice. Hari bol for Prabhu. है ना? See, this is 1.2.16. See, the formula for getting capacity to hearing is given. Sushrusho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. Right? Right? By serving those devotees who are completely freed from all the vices, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of the Vasudev. So when one serves great Mahatmas who have great attraction for hearing about the Lord, right? See, purport, if you see the last part of the purpose, yeah, please read any of you the blue part.
The servants of God come to propagate God consciousness, and intelligent people should cooperate with them in every respect. By serving the servant of God, one can please God more than by directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are properly respected, because such servants risk everything for the service of the Lord and so are very dear to the Lord. The Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 18.69 that no one is dearer to him than one who risks everything to preach his glory. By serving the servants of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of God. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God.
See, so much emphasis is given about it. So what happens if we serve the great souls, if we serve the acharyas, because they have these qualities of, they have so much capacity to hear about Krishna, so then we will also get that capacity if we serve them, with a pure heart. So that's it is very important for any devotee. We say that मुझे mind control नहीं होता है. You have to see that how much are we actively trying to serve the Guru, how much we are trying to actively serve the Prabhupada's mission. See, Prabhupada is so merciful. He has given us so many ways by which we can serve him and serve his mission. We can do book distribution, we can get into some programs, we can help in the cooking, we can help in some temple activities. There are so many ways by which we can serve Prabhupada. So, so if our mind is not getting control, means what? We are lacking the blessings of the acharyas. So this is very important at how we have to be able to get the blessings of the acharyas in our life, and that will happen if we follow the instructions. Then the mind can be controlled, and then we will have a capacity to hear about Krishna. And see, it is, so much emphasized. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of the God. So we need to have this hearing capacity, which will come by serving faithfully the mission of the Guru, the instructions of the Guru. That is how we can overcome uh, that is how we can control our uncontrolled mind. So that is very important thing. So see, for us as the devotees also, no, it's very important. We have to see in our life that are we actively trying to please the Vaishnavas, please some representative of Guru in our life, है ना? Na, if we are trying to actively serve some representative of Krishna in our life, and we also try to hear about Krishna Katha, right? See, we may engage into other activities of devotional service, but still hearing has a very bigger role. Indeed, hearing is the foundation of all other activities. Like, if you want to have smaranam, if you have not heard about Krishna, you will not have smaranam. You want to chant. If you have not heard about Krishna, you will not be able to chant. So all these things have a foundation. All the activities, you want to do prayers to Krishna, but if you're not heard, you will not be able to pray. So hearing is a foundational activity. So see, our hearing has to be very good, right? And in our terms, hearing also means reading also, right? Because when you're reading Prabhupada books, we are still hearing from Prabhupada only. We are hearing from Prabhupada. So one of the main reasons for lack of enthusiasm in our bhakti which comes over a period of time is because somewhere we become lax in hearing Krishna Katha. We are not trying to meet with the limits. We are not trying to exert ourselves to hear and to read Krishna Katha. That's why the enthusiasm goes down, because it's a science. If there's no reading, hearing, the anarthas in the heart will trouble, the mind will become distracted, and then everything will become impossible. And then there will be revival of the sense gratificatory desires, right? But if somebody is hearing Krishna Katha, studying Krishna Katha, and, trying to practice sincerely, then Krishna will clean the heart. And as there will be the cleaning of the heart, one will be able to have experience of the spiritual bliss which will come. Because the Atma is naturally blissful, Satchidananda. So right now what is covering is the anarthas, the impurities, the ignorance. So this we have to see that this is one of the major things in our life. The main thing in the life is to keep the main thing as the main thing. Vaisheshika Prabhu says, Prabhupada's disciple. The main thing in the life is to keep the main thing as the main thing, right? So we have to see these purports are urging us that we have to focus upon hearing Krishna Katha. We have to focus upon studying Srila Prabhupada books. Then that will lead to the purification of our hearts. And when the heart is becoming purified, there's a revival of the soul's nature, then we'll be happy, we will be satisfied. The sense gratification will not appeal to us very much. But on the contrary, if we are compromised upon this major thing, see, that's how the life is, The life tends to make us think all other things as more important than this thing. बाकी सारी जो चीजें हमारी लाइफ की ना मैनेजिंग अवर ऑफिस वर्क मैनेजिंग अवर फैमिली थिंग्स मैनेजिंग अवर फाइनेंसिंग दे आर नॉट द प्राइमरी थिंग्स ऑफ अवर लाइफ दे आर द सेकेंडरी थिंग्स ऑफ अवर लाइफ बट क्या होता है कि जब हम लोग रजोगुण में होते हैं पैशन में होते हैं तो पैशन में क्या होता है कि जो ये लोअर चीजें हैं उसके साथ में डील करना आसान होता है वो ज्यादा अट्रैक्टिव होते हैं डील कर लेने के चलो भाई फाइनेंस का मैनेजमेंट देख लेता हूँ ऑफिस का काम निपटाने ये कर देता हूँ बट वी आर नॉट एबल टू फोकस अपॉन द प्राइमरी थिंग्स उसमें करने के लिए आपको गुडनेस चाहिए थोड़ा सदोगुण चाहिए but we have to see that we have to make it a priority in our life, right? One more purpose I will show you है ना about how the mercy of the spiritual master is also coming in our life by the means of only hearing Krishna Katha. See, so if you see 1.7.22 there, see in the purport Prabhupada writes very beautifully about how the mercy of, see, so this is Arjun is crying out to Krishna for help. अर्जुन उवाच कृष्ण कृष्ण महाबाहो भक्तानाम अभयंकर स्वयं एको धैर्यमानानाम अपवर्गो अस्ति संस्कृते. Right? So anyways, what is our interest is this, purport. So Arjuna stated how, Lord, you are the rewarder of the fearlessness, right? So see, please read any of you this blue part.
Krishna is Almighty, is especially the cause of fearlessness for the devotees. A devotee of the Lord is always fearless because of the protection given by the Lord. Material existence is something like a blazing fire in the forest, which can be extinguished by the mercy of the Lord Sri Krishna. The spiritual master is the mercy representative of the Lord. Therefore, a person burning in the flames of material existence may receive the rains of the mercy of the Lord through the transparent medium of the self-realized spiritual master. The spiritual master, by his words, can penetrate into the heart of the suffering person and inject knowledge transcendental, which alone can extinguish the fire of material existence.
So we are burning in the fire of the material existence, है ना? So what is the way to come out of it? See, the spiritual master is the mercy representative of the Lord, right? The कृपा के अवतार हैं, जो spiritual master हैं, है ना? And a person burning in the flames of the material existence may receive the rains of the mercy of the Lord through the transparent medium of the selfless spiritual master, right? अभी हम लोग अगर जल रहे हैं तो आपको क्या चाहिए? पानी चाहिए आपको जलन को बुझाने के लिए. तो वो कैसे आएगा? The rains of the mercy of the Lord will come by the means of the spiritual master. हाँ, लेकिन कैसे आएगा spiritual master को ना ओम संसार दावा नल लीड लोका हम बोलते हैं ना, that how the संसार दावा नल, the forest fire of the material existence से हमको spiritual master की mercy से हम लोग बचते हैं. तो वो जो mercy है spiritual master की कैसे आती है देखिए बताया गया, it's very important line. The spiritual master by his words can penetrate into the heart of the suffering person and inject the knowledge transcendental, which alone can extinguish the fire of the material existence. So the reason why we suffer in this world is because of our ignorance. The reason we suffer is because of the ignorance. So when we hear from the spiritual master, there's a transfer of the spiritual knowledge, and that enlightenment is something which frees us from the ignorance and which frees us from the misery. You see, the cause of our misery is ignorance. अज्ञानता के कारण ही हम दुखी रहते हैं संसार में, ओके? क्योंकि हम अज्ञान में है, राइट? माइंड बहुत ट्रबल्ड है, ठीक है? अगर आपको ज्ञान है कि भाई यू आर नॉट द माइंड, you can just try to control your mind, but no problem. Even if your mind is not controlled, still there's no problem about that. Still you can go back to Krishna. Still Krishna is your friend, right now. So why we suffer is because of the misidentification, which is born because of the ignorance. Right? सारे जो हमारे दुखों का जो जड़ है वो क्या है? अज्ञानता है ना, इग्नोरेंस है. क्योंकि हमें नॉलेज नहीं होती है, हम लोग सही नॉलेज को नहीं समझ पाते हैं, इसलिए हम इल्यूजन में रह जाते हैं. It is just like you are watching a movie, and inside a movie you become so much absorbed into the movie that you identify with those characters, and then you are involved with the joys and the sorrows of all of them, right now. But if you're in the knowledge, you understand that this is the movie going on. I am different from the movie. My joys and the sorrows have nothing to do with the joys and the sorrows of the film going on, the movie going on, you know. So that is what. So the spiritual knowledge which comes from the spiritual master, no, that is something which helps us to recognize our true self, no, that we are the souls, and this is all movies going on around us, you know. We are participating in the movies, but understand that we are not meant for this movie, you know. We are meant for somebody, you know. We are supposed to join some other movie in the spiritual world, you know. So this knowledge will come by the means of the sound vibration from the spiritual masters. This is very important. That how uh, the reason for our suffering is because of the ignorance, and the mercy of the Krishna comes in our life by the means of the sound vibrations and coming through the acharyas and the guru. So if we hear them, then we'll be able to get rid of all the problems of our life, you know. So this should be the most important practice, you know, that if we want to control our minds, this should be the most important practice, that we have to hear, we have to study, you know, the knowledge. The reason we are troubled is because we are not hearing. That's the only reason, you know. Over the years also, the reason why, you know, because we have heard sometimes in the voice culture, we have heard, you know, every day there is a class and all. But once we get out of the voices, then, you know, we are on our own. You know, we do prioritize everything. We prioritize our job, we prioritize our time for family, we prioritize many other things. But we heavily compromise. I'm saying this word, we heavily compromise, and upon reading of our Prabhupada books and hearing of our Guru's Vani, Acharya's Vani. And that leads to a lot of complicated, you know, complicatedness. And the most sad part is that, you know, even though we have understood the knowledge, even though we have understood that Krishna consciousness is the goal, but that remains very, very superficial in our background. You know, there is no active efforts to pursue that goal. It just becomes like a shadow, just like, you know, you have a shadow, no? Like it is just like a shadow, you know, it is in the background. You are no more actively perceiving. You know that Krishna is a God, I have to go back to Godhead, but you know, you are just chanting Hare Krishna, and you are just, you know, into your world, till life fully, right now. That goal is simply like a shadow. And that is the reason Krishna has to then arrange some situations where you are, you know, where you have to be shaken up. You have to be again forced to take shelter of the sound vibrations, you know, take shelter of the Prabhupada books, take shelter of the Guru's Vani. So Krishna has to arrange those situations again and again. Anyways, so I think one more time तो हो गया ना. Okay, तो एक और श्लोक है जो आप देख सकते हो माइंड कंट्रोल के लिए, that is there in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is telling about the austerities for the mind, which that is also very important to be meditated. No? What practice we should do? Krishna is telling, है ना, in the Bhagavad Gita about. See, this is 17.16. आज तो भी टाइम नहीं रहा हमारे पास में, बट आप देख सकते हो कि ये भी प्रैक्टिस है हमें मन को कंट्रोल करने के जो भगवान दे रहे हैं, है ना. तो आई थिंक टाइम हो गया, तो हम लोग यहीं पे स्टॉप करते हैं. एंड मे बी one more class we will need to finish this chapter. Now, I thought of sharing little more time upon this concept because it is important for us to understand as a devotee. I will just show you that I have written some of these main points in this you know, notes. You know, some these shlokas which I showed you written there. Right now. So the most important thing is, if you want to have control of mind, we have to be actively trying to, you know, please the acharyas, and now we have to be active in our devotional service. You know, that is how we will be able to. That is how it will be very easy for us to fix our mind upon Krishna. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.